Greetings, R. Frederick Riddle here with another Christian news and views. This is episode 158, and this is Wednesday. A former Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice, warned that Russian President Vladimir Putin has grown more out of control, arguing he is desperate to eradicate Ukraine. Rice was asked about reports of Ukraine's striking a bridge linking Crimea and Russia in a series of underwater explosions. Rice called the attack extraordinary during Fox and Friends, saying it shows Ukraine can hold Putin accountable for his aggression. It shows a couple of things, she told Brian Kilmeade on Wednesday. First, the changing nature of warfare, that you can do this with relatively cheap drones against the Russian strategic air fleet, which has cost billions and billions of dollars. Secondly, it shows that the Ukrainians are very advanced in what they are doing in their defense industry with the building of these drones and an employment strategy for them. And third, it is an incredible intelligence coup, she added. Vladimir Putin is undoubtedly now wondering whether there was an inside job. You're probably going to see a witch hunt in Russia as he tries to figure out who did this inside job. So it just shows that just with a little bit of help, Ukrainians can make Vladimir Putin pay for his aggression. A massive underwater blast targeting a bridge linking Russia to Crimea left it in a state of emergency Tuesday, according to the Ukrainian Security Service, SBU. The SBU said it detonated around 2,500 pounds of underwater explosives along the Kerch Bridge. Footage showed a blast centered around one of the bridge pillars, followed by people surveying damage on top of the bridge. This surprise detonation comes just days after Ukraine carried out Operation Spiderweb, a series of coordinated drone strikes penetrating deep into Russian territory that is believed to have taken out dozens of Russia's most powerful bomber jets and surveillance planes as they sat idle on 5 military airfields. I reported on that yesterday, in fact. Rice noted Putin's behavior has become more unstable since she served under former President George W. Bush, pointing to his unwavering determination in trying to extinguish Ukraine. He seems to be more out of control than he used to be, Rice said. He was always a very controlled figure. Don't get me wrong, he was never a Jeffersonian Democrat. He was always an autocrat. He was always an imperialist. There's something about him now that it seems almost more dangerous in wanting to extinguish Ukraine. Rice argued it is imperative for President Donald Trump to make it clear that Russia will not win in its effort to take over the country after peace talks failed to yield a major breakthrough in Istanbul on Monday. I do think there's a little part of Vladimir Putin that recognizes particularly that the energy infrastructure in Russia is degrading and that he would be better off to stop this war, she said. But it's being overcome by that other Putin who still thinks he can extinguish Ukraine. And you know, he needs the president more than the president needs him. And so making very clear to him that he's not going to get his maximalist claims is extremely important at this point. So that's the news article. And it is quite extraordinary when you think of the massive attack on the different airfields. And then on top of that, this attack on the bridge. Now, the implication has been that it was a drone attack, but when they talk about the explosion being centered around one particular pillar there, made me think of underwater attacks, or could be a combination of both, or one or the other. In any case, it shows that Ukrainians are really on top of their game. They know what's going on. They are prepared. They have imagination and skill. She mentioned that herself. Now, I want to say one thing about Condoleezza Rice. She is one of the smartest persons I have ever seen. Not the smartest woman, but the smartest person. In other words, she's extremely smart. Now, you can disagree with her on different things, but if you intend to argue with her or disagree with her, it would be wise to have all of your marbles all lined up and in place and ready to be used, because she knows her subject. So I find her very honest, straightforward, and knowledgeable. So my opinion here is that when she speaks, listen. You're entitled to disagree with her, and she'll probably tolerate it. But like I said, you'll need to prove your case, especially as it relates to foreign affairs. She is an expert when it comes to foreign affairs. Her experience as a former Secretary of State, her experience of just in every aspect of what she is doing. It's just something that you have to listen. That's all there is to it. You have to listen because she knows her subject. She knows what's going on. So when she speaks, I listen when it comes to foreign affairs. And I think I would tend to listen to no matter what the subject was, because she's that smart. Her remarks regarding Putin and Russia are spot on. Now, she didn't say this. This is my opinion, by the way, but he is single-handedly destroying his own country. If you're a fan of Russia out there, now, if you're a Christian, I can't see that being the case. But if you're a fan of Russia, he is destroying the country that you think so highly of. He himself is, she pointed out something that I think needs to be restated again. I'm going to go back and find that because I think it really, here we are. Listen to what she had to say. I do think there's a little part of Vladimir Putin that recognizes particularly that the energy infrastructure in Russia is degrading and that he would be better off to stop this war, she said. But it's being overcome by that other Putin who still thinks he can extinguish Ukraine. And he needs a president more than the president needs him. And so making very clear to him that he's not going to get his maximalist claims is extremely important at this point. That's quite telling. Putin would be wise himself to listen to what she has to say. He is stuck on this thing about Ukraine, and he is determined to win at no matter what the cost. It's cost his country money, billions, trillions of dollars, I think it is now, thousands, hundred thousands of lives. And in fact, he's reaching close to 1 million lives. I think that's the figure was around 950,000 and climbing. So he's single-handedly destroying his own country. He has managed in the meantime to strengthen the Europeans and NATO. Combined with President Biden's weakness, Putin forced NATO to get stronger. And now they are strong, and they can defend themselves. They don't have to come running to the United States and say, oh, please help us. They can take care of themselves. And I think that in one of the things in back of President Trump's mind is exactly that. You guys are big boys now. You don't need us. You take care of your own backyard. We're there if it really comes to that. But you should be taking care of your own backyard. And that seems to be what's happening with NATO and other plans that they have. One of the reasons I don't expect an invasion of Israel, which is a totally different war, but I don't expect an invasion of Israel anytime soon by Russia, as depicted in the Bible. I know it because it's there, so it's going to happen. But I don't think it's going to happen quickly because Russia is fast becoming a third world country. economically, militarily, you just name it. And that all rests on Putin. Once this war is over, and especially once Putin is gone, Russia will undoubtedly recover. And that future war will, I believe, be on the docket. So I hope you've enjoyed today's take on the news. I try to give you a conservative Christian view of the news. Sometimes that means I agree with the news reporting that I find, and sometimes I don't. I happen to agree with a lot. In fact, didn't see anything which Rice said that I would disagree with. And so I just try to bring to you a conservative and Christian viewpoint of the news. And if you do enjoy this, I would encourage you to, right about there, you have the opportunity to subscribe to TR Independent Book Channel. And when you do, I promise you that I'm going to do my best to inform you, to encourage you, and to inspire you. News cannot be all that inspiring a lot of times, but I want to inspire you to at least trust the Bible, for one thing. The Bible says something's going to come to pass, it will. Right now with Putin, that doesn't look like it's going to be likely. He's got the mentality for it, the insanity, if you want to call it that. But he's getting weaker, physically, militarily weaker. And so that seems to be out of the picture as far as any time within the next few months or anything like that. But once you get out of this war, those things are going to happen, and Russia will invade Israel, and Russia will be their military might will be at least temporarily decimated. God will intervene. Well, in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this, and like I said, and I encourage you to subscribe. I will see you in the next episode.